You know, whenever you buy a car, there's always going to be some kind of compromise. Whether there's a lot of bad things or less a lot of good things, you have to pick out which ones matter the most to you. And then on the last video, I told you guys about the things that I don't like about the Q60. Well, those are just some compromises that I had to deal with because the positives that we do have for this car, they matter more to me than they do with the with the bad stuff. So nothing is perfect, no car is perfect, and there will never be anything that's perfect. So let's get down to this video, and in this video we're gonna go ahead and talk about the things that I do like about the Q60, and then why you should consider buying the Q60. And first of all, I want to apologize beforehand if this video is a little bit too bright. I'm over here at Clearwater Beach, and yeah, and this video is recorded at Clearwater right after I recorded the last one. And it's very sunny here. There's no cloud at all, and then it's very windy. So if there's any wind noise that gets into the video, I do apologize, and don't hate me for it. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is the styling of this. It's kind of futuristic in a way if you look at it in certain angles. So it's not too big, it's not too small. It looks the perfect size, and then you have an LED tail lights over here, LED turn signals, LED brake lights, and even LED reverse lights there, which is pretty nice. And they don't, they integrate, they work with each other so well. The only thing that needs to be removed is just this Infiniti logo here, not this one, just this one. I don't know badges. Yeah, not symbols. Sorry guys. And then we also have nice dual exhaust tips. These are different from the ones you get in the regular Q60s. These are a Red Sport exclusive, and they're actually real exhaust. So it's not one of those just tips. They work. And you have these Q60 the S badge here, Red Sport. Very nice subtle way to differentiate between the models. And for my particular car, I have these optional summer performance tires and wheels. These are 20 inch, and these are non-run flats, which I'm glad. Non-run flats, and they're 275/30s and then 255/35s in the front, and they're not as good as the Michelin Sports that was in my Stinger, but they do work well. If this was Michelin Sport tires, I'm pretty sure we could put all that power down, or maybe just minimize the traction there, because we'll talk about it later. But right now this is almost a perfect setup. I don't want to change the wheels. Maybe I'll plastic dip it or just leave it as it is, because these are perfect 20 inch. And if you go here, they made a subtle nice change to the side mirrors. I'm pretty sure all Red Sports come with the black side mirrors for the side mirrors, and you also have an optional carbon fiber package, which I don't have for this. And more badges here. You also have these functional side vents, and all in all, the styling is very on point here, and I like it. Do you like it? I like it. And then you also have these futuristic headlights. I say futuristics because they're very subtle, and I don't know what this scratch is, if you can see it, but it's a scratch, but we can get that off. I'm not sure how I feel about the big grill though. This looks like a big Angry Bird, but it works well. Now that's for the exterior. Let's go back to the interior and see what else I like about it. So I like that this door feels very solid. Feels very solid, not coupe heavy, but it feels solid, and it just feels quality. And then once you open the door, you'll see all these are leather. These are nice leather. I don't know if they're fake leather or not, but they feel nice over here too, all the way down here. And then you have these genuine carbon fiber optic trims, These are optional and they're not standard. And these Bose sound system, which sounds solid, solid, not phenomenal, but solid. And then once you're inside, you can see what I told you guys earlier, is that, or what I told you guys in the last video, is that these seats are amazing. These are pretty much one of the sexiest seat designs that I've seen in a mainstream car, barring anything that's performance versions like an AMG model, M model, F model. But it's just that these seats, they look wonderful. You see from the sides, they're very aggressively bolstered, so that in a way when you get in it, you have to really know how to get in it without scuffing the side bolsterings here. And then these seats, they have the bolster adjustment, which of course is already expected. But one thing that this car doesn't have is the thigh adjustment that we did find in the older G's, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But I don't really feel like the need to use them in my 500-mile trip. And these seats are comfortable enough that in my 500-mile trip, when soon to be a 1,000-mile trip, they're pretty comfortable enough that when I wake up from sleep this morning, I didn't feel any part of my body being sore. I don't remember the Stinger doing that, because, and I'm not trying to make this to like where I repeatedly bash the Stinger, but it's just like one of those things that were really apparent to me with the Stinger, that it was very stiff. And since I like to take a lot of road trips, it wasn't really good for my back. And even in this car, I don't feel anything on my back, and that's pretty amazing. These seats just feel amazing, you know. And I'm not saying like you could take this on a 10-hour road trip straight up and then you could just sit in it and never get out of it and you don't feel anything, because no matter how long you sit in a seat, no matter how comfortable it is, you have to get out of it eventually and take a break. But as far as these seats goes, they're very comfortable. As far as back seat goes, it's pretty comfortable too. So let me get inside here, and I want to make a point here. The back seats are actually pretty usable. They're pretty usable, and that I'm 6 even or 5'11", depending on how you measure it. But these seats are comfortable enough that for a guy like me, I have enough headroom. If my hair wasn't standing up, I have enough headroom here to sit comfortably. And then as far as leg room goes, it's pretty limited, because I have this set to my driving position and it's pretty much squishing my legs. But as you can see here, if I really want to force it, I can sit in the back here pretty comfortably for about 20 to 30 minutes. After that, I have to get out. But it's not as small as you would expect. And one more thing that I want to talk to you guys about, what I love about the Q60, is the engine that's on this car. So we all know that the transmission is a traditional 7-speed automatic that Infiniti used in the old G37s. So but this car has the 400 horsepower with the twin turbo V6. So what you get is that the transmission isn't good enough to keep up with the engine, and what you get is that it's a little bit lazy. And I'm saying this as a good thing, because it adds more drama to the car. So like sometimes you have to wait for the car for the turbo to kick in, and then after that you get all that power. And another problem is, once you get all that power down, sometimes your tires can't handle it because of its sudden surge in power. So most of the Q60s that come from the dealer, usually most people have the regular 19 wheels, which has the run flats in them. But if you have the 20-inch wheels and then the summer performance tires like I do, even though it's not the Michelin Sport tires, it's good enough to put most of the power down. And then here, I'll give you an example. I'm gonna go in Sport Plus, and then I'm just gonna downshift a little. And in most cases, I only get wheel spin on first or second gear if I mash all that power down. So if I try to big torque it into a launch control kind of thing, then it'll spin, but only a little bit. But if you have the regular run flats, then you're definitely not going to be able to put all that power down in real wheel drive form, which what I have. And I think that's the better form, that's the better drivetrain to get, because it's fun. I mean, who doesn't like rear wheel drive, but as opposed to all wheel drive, you know? All wheel drive is always heavier. And compared to the competitors, the Mercedes, the Audis, and the BMWs, this is definitely one of the most dramatic option. And then it makes you feel like you're in a traditional G37 without the sound, minus the sound, and then think of it like a McLaren. You know, you wait until the turbo kicks in, and then when it kicks in, you really feel like you're going bonkers. And this car is bonkers. It's either full-on bonkers or no bonkers at all. It doesn't have a happy medium. That's not a good thing sometimes. And the power in this car is good enough that the transmission wouldn't need to be an issue, because even in comfort mode, you can get through highway driving just fine, and you can even be going over speed limit without you realizing, like I did last time when I was driving to Clearwater, and I got a ticket for driving 85, which I thought I was doing 80, and that's just how powerful it is. And then if you go into Sport Plus, once you dip it into that power, you have to brake right away, and thankfully these brakes are great. So that's something to consider if you want to get something in this segment. So if you're looking for reliability, you're looking for something old school, get the Q60. All you need is just a muffler delete, which I'm gonna get soon, and this car will just be the sleeker look type. I mean, a sleeper look. It has a sleeper look. It doesn't look anything ricey, and it looks mature. So as you know, guys, choosing this Q60 wasn't really easy, because replacing the Stinger wasn't as easy. So I had a lot of things to check off my list, and then these are some of the things that I checked off, and then they gave me a good enough reason to get the Q60 and replace the Stinger. So windy here, and it's about 50 degrees, and it's kind of cold, and I picked the wrong time to pick out a short vacation, but it is what it is. I mean, I needed to get out of my system. I needed to get away from daily routine, and this was just the thing, you know. I got to break in the Q60. I got to test it out for a long drive. I got to see if I really liked it, and I did, and I got to enjoy these views before spring break, because if I got here on spring break, this place I assume would be really crowded, you know, spring, you know. And hope you guys liked the video. See you on the next one, and bye bye.